Brought to you by Penguin.
The Hawthorne Legacy. Written by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Read by Christie Moreau. For Charlie. Chapter 1. Tell me again about the first time the two of you played chess in the park. Jameson's face was candle-lit, but even in the scant light, I could see the gleam in his dark green eyes. There was nothing, and no one, that set Jameson Hawthorne's blood pumping like a mystery. It was right after my mother's funeral, I said. A few days, maybe a week. The two of us were in the tunnels beneath Hawthorne House, alone, where no one else could hear us. It had been less than a month since I'd first stepped onto the palatial Texas mansion, and a week since we'd solved the mystery of why I'd been brought there. If we'd truly solved that mystery. My mom and I used to go for walks in the park. I shut my eyes so that I could concentrate on the facts, and not the intensity with which Jameson locked on to my every word. She called it the strolling aimlessly game. I steeled myself against the memory, letting my eyelids open. A few days after her funeral, I went to the park without her for the first time. When I got near the pond, I saw a crowd gathered. A man was lying on the sidewalk, eyes closed, covered in tattered blankets. Homeless. Jameson had heard all of this before, but his laser focus on me never wavered. People thought he was dead, or passed out drunk. Then he sat up. I saw a police officer making his way through the crowd. But you got to the man first, Jameson finished, his eyes on mine, his lips crooking upward. And you asked him to play chess. I hadn't expected Harry to take me up on the offer, let alone win. We played every week after that, I said. Sometimes twice a week, 3 times. He never told me more than his name. His name wasn't really Harry. He lied. And that was why I was in these tunnels with Jameson Hawthorne. That was why he'd started looking at me like I was a mystery again, a puzzle that he and only he could solve. It couldn't be a coincidence that billionaire Tobias Hawthorne had left his fortune to a stranger who knew his dead son. "You're sure that it was Toby?" Jameson asked, the air between us charged. These days, I was sure of little else. 3 weeks earlier, I'd been a normal girl, scraping by, desperately trying to survive high school, get a scholarship, and get out. Then, out of the blue, I'd received word that one of the richest men in the country had died and named me in his will. Tobias Hawthorne had left me billions, very nearly his entire fortune, and I'd had no idea why. Jameson and I had spent 2 weeks unraveling the puzzles and clues the old man had left behind. Why me? Because of my name. Because of the day I was born. Because Tobias Hawthorne had bet everything on the long shot that somehow I could bring his splintered family back together. Or at least that was what the conclusion of the old man's last game had led us to believe. "I'm sure," I told Jameson fiercely. "Toby's alive, and if your grandfather knew that, and I know that's a big if, but if he did know, then we have to assume that either he chose me because I knew Toby, or he somehow masterminded bringing us together in the first place." If there was one thing I'd learned about deceased billionaire Tobias Hawthorne, it was that he was capable of orchestrating nearly anything, manipulating nearly anyone. He'd loved puzzles and riddles and games. Just like Jameson. What if that day in the park wasn't the first time you met my uncle? Jameson took a step toward me, an unholy energy.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?